Hello, this is Einar from Unity Web TV. Today we have Penney Peirce here from the US. You're now living in Florida?
Yes.
Yes, I've been looking at your website. So, and also, she has been in the conference here in Oslo last weekend, and I was listening to her. And I thought it was very exciting things she's talking about. And usually you tell things very simple. It's easy to understand. And you're also talking about. We're going to talk about the energies of the future coming up. And you also say we're going from the information age to the intuition age. That was a fantastic thing. Can you say a little bit more about, that's what you're doing mostly, isn't it? Doesn't that say a little bit what you're working on?
Yeah, I think that when I finished writing this last book, which is called Leap of Perception, and it came out last year. But after I finished, I realized that it was part of a trilogy. Okay. That book with Frequency, which was the one before that, and then The Intuitive Way, which was my first book, they actually go together. And that they are a book on the transformation process.
Okay. Is it coming one more?
I don't think so. Not exactly. We'll see. I have a lot of ideas.
Okay. But the name is the one was Frequency.
The Intuitive Way.
Intuitive Way.
Frequency, the power of personal vibration, and Leap of Perception, the power of your attention.
Yeah, exactly.
And because I started thinking that attention is really the big skill for the next period of time. And anyway, so it all fits together. And so what I'm doing now is talking a lot about the whole process, which it does include intuition development, but also learning to understand that we are beings of energy now. We're able to experience ourselves as having frequencies and vibration, because maybe 5 or 10 years ago we couldn't even see that. We just thought we were solid bodies.
I still feel I'm a solid body, but can you explain? You are in these feelings very much. Can you explain the difference?
Well, I just think that because the frequency on the planet has increased.
Yes.
And there is some proof about that the Schumann resonance has increased quite a bit in recent years, which is the vibration of the planet, that our bodies are also increasing. And that means everything's functioning faster. And I kind of feel like everything's coming into the present moment. And in fact, it may have happened in the energy world in the end of 2012 when that juncture point came about. And it's taking us this time now to understand what happened, because it's very hard to project into the future anymore, or to use willpower, or even to go into the past. It seems needless. Everything comes to you in the present moment. So the future, I think, is just a higher frequency of the present moment.
I have to have it very easy. Eckhart Tolle is talking about the power of now. That's what you're talking about, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And when you're in the now, the soul is in the body, and your intuition opens. If you go into your left brain, you'll go into the past, and then you'll take the things that happened in the past and project them onto the present moment or onto the future. And so really, I think left brain is not in the present moment. But as soon as you really bring your attention here in the body, in the moment, your intuition opens.
Yes. And don't you have to use the left brain to think that now I have to be in the now?
Right. It sort of helps you. It's the implementer, right?
Yeah.
So it does help you break habits. So we have to learn to, whenever you start thinking negatively or projecting, just say, "Oops, there I go again," and come back and just take a breath, get in the moment. And I talk in Frequency about creating a vibration in yourself called the home frequency. That is kind of the way you like yourself when you're feeling good. It's the soul in the body.
That's a very good way to say it. When you feel it good in the body, then you're in your home frequency.
That's right. That's right.
And then you can, if you can make yourself go into the now, then you have.
And you can just drop in, and there you are. You're in it. It's always there, and it's stable. But the mind wanders, right? It projects all over. And so you've got to reel in and bring your mind, your conscious mind, back inside the here and now, in the body, center of time and space.
Yes, but I've been trying it myself sometimes. I'm sitting on the porch and having a nice time, then I concentrate on the question. And then I concentrate, okay, now I'll be in the now. And sometimes I really get the super answer in very, very low, behind some place. I get a very good answer. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Is that intuition?
I think it is. It comes very quickly and obviously, and it just sits, that. You know, very easy, you know. So that higher frequency, I think, is causing us to go through a really profound shift. And it's not just change, it's actually a transformation. Because we're shifting a dimension into a new dimension, not just rearranging objects on the table, which would be change, but actually adding in a new dimension, which is the energetic spiritual realm.
Yeah, it's so fascinating. Because, do you know more about that? In the other dimension, how do we get there, and how is it there?
Well, because the frequency here is rising. That dimension is right here with us all the time anyway. But your mind has to get to the same frequency as it. And the way you do that, I think, is you get out of your left brain, you go into your right brain. And the way you do that is you stop the internal dialogue. You stop talking.
Some kind of meditation.
Well, you go into silence first. And then drop into your body and just let yourself open up and be. Because the left brain is about doing, changing things, having things,
making plans.
Oh yeah. It's busy, right? You know, and it's always has definitions, and it categorizes information, and it, you know. So the right brain is direct experience. There's no language. It's like an animal just being in the moment, engaging with what's here. When you do that, you're connected to everything, and anything you need just comes to you.
Okay, but is this going to be easier and easier in years coming, or do we have to use lots of power to train myself to be in the now?
I think we have to unlearn the old habit and relearn a new habit. The old habit is a certain kind of perception, and that's what I'm talking about in leap of perception. It's that we're moving from what I'm calling old perception into new perception. Old perception is linear. Past, present, future, cause and effect thinking. I'll do this and then I'll get this result. You know, I'm on a timeline. Those kinds of thinking. And we think that's normal. That's the way we've been trained. But in the new perception, it's all in the present moment. So there's no linear anymore, which is like, what? And so what happens instead is that you're in the center of the moment. And if you really experience that, it feels like a big ball. It's a sphere. So it's spherical perception.
Can you explain spherical?
Spherical.
Can you explain that?
Spherical is that you experience yourself in the middle of a ball. And that ball can expand and contract. That is your present moment. And that is also your conscious mind. You know, it is your reality. But as soon as you think of more or something of a higher frequency, the ball has already expanded to include it. So when you're in the ball, you never leave the center. There's nothing outside of you. There's no outside world. It's all part of your own field. It's the unified field of physics.
Yeah. But how do you do it when you're on work and all these things?
You just have to remember to center yourself a lot throughout the day. Instead of projecting ahead, notice when you're doing that and say, oops, okay, get back centered, open up the sphere. And then if you have a goal, let's say, don't put it out in the future ahead of you, bring it inside the ball.
Okay, yes.
Right?
Smart.
And then it's with you, it's in the now. And so it happens much faster. And it happens that way because you've changed your perception about it. And immediately that changes the rules of the way reality works. Right? So right now, things are happening faster. You think it, and it happens.
Yes. That's why you're talking about on your website about we have been in the information age.
Right.
And things are going so fast we can't keep up. So now we have to go up to the intuition
Yeah.
age.
Yeah, the information age started speeding up with the internet. And then we have so much data now. But it's still organized in bytes, right? And it's still linear. To process it, you're still using logic and trying to, get it all, memorize it all and everything. But you can't anymore. It just won't. It's like pushing to the limit where you just fry,
Yes.
You can't do it.
Yeah.
So there's this leap into this other reality where it's kind of like you have to let go of trying and then just relax and go into the moment and be, and then anything you need to know is right there, and it comes to you when you need it, and it goes back. It's like taking an object off the shelf and looking at it, and when you're done, you put it back on the shelf.
Yes.
It's all there, but you don't have to get it. It's all just kind of flows, and it's so effortless. But it's scary to the left brain because it's so used to this control that it has over reality.
I'm thinking about all the people around. I don't know if they're looking at this, but all the you call the normal people that's not into this alternative business. What do they experience different things now? Do they?
I think partly all of us, and even people who aren't quite into the discussion on spirituality, are experiencing the fact that large superstructures are not working the way they used to, that willpower doesn't get the same results. In fact, sometimes it backfires, that forcing things, it doesn't work. You can't really control too much because it's going to do what it wants to anyway. There is, I think, a movement now with transformation where all the things that used to be able to be suppressed and, denied, wait, I don't want to look at that, are now rising to the surface.
Yeah, we see that on television.
And they're coming into our conscious mind.
Yes.
That means traumas and old fears, but in society it could mean scandals in politics or, all the ugly things that we never wanted to look at. Sexual abuse and those things. That those things have to be faced and understood and released. And then we get clarity.
Yeah.
And the more, it's like clearing clutter, But right now, that stuff comes up, and most people are trying to push it back down or avoid it.
Yes.
And I say they're using fight or flight methods,
Yeah.
right? They either try to avoid it and go unconscious or leave their body or give their power over to someone else, or they resist it and they try to control it and be more powerful.
Then they get a bigger problem, even bigger problem later.
Yeah, and then it comes back again. It's just, it won't, it's not going to stop.
No.
The arising of the fear.
But what has really happened then after the laws of nature? Have they changed, or the spiritual laws are coming more and more in power? What's happening?
Well, I think that the way things work in the spiritual realm, where the frequency is very high, there are different rules. Things are immediate. There's telepathy. People know what each other's thinking. There's no lines of separation between things. So it's all in you. I mean, it's immediate. But you come down to a slower frequency, like, form and matter, and now everything seems separate. So you have to cross an empty gap. So that slows everything down, and the way we think that things work here makes things simply slower and more difficult, and then we have the idea of suffering and pain, and those two realities coexist. But what's happening is that the spiritual reality of that higher frequency is now matching with the physical one because they're interpenetrating, because the physical's getting higher. So it's matching it. And now we're starting to get all these insights, like, hey, we're made of energy,
Yes.
Or hey, everything's actually in the present moment.
Yeah, and
It's not separated and fragmented anymore. It's all one.
And science has started to prove that it is prove spirituality in some ways.
And for example, I think there's a shift between when people talk about the flow, and that's a big thing.
I'm in the flow.
I'm in the flow. We usually think of it in a linear way, like it's a sine wave. It's going forward into the future,
Yes.
But the new way is that you're in the present moment and you're moving really between physical and non-physical reality, like physics talks about. You're the particle, then you're the wave, then you're the particle, and you're the wave, and you're in form and you're out of form, and back and forth. So you're not going anywhere, except that you're letting go of this reality momentarily, checking in with the whole collective consciousness and the big global pattern, repatterning yourself, coming back. And we're like doing that every millisecond.
Yes.
Do you know?
Well,
that's the flow.
Yeah.
Now.
Another thing is, people say when you die you come into the fourth and fifth dimension. Now they're talking about coming into these dimensions without leaving the body.
That's right.
How does that happen? Is that
Well, that's because the higher frequency is merging now. That's it. So we're here. We're going to see and feel how it works in spirit, because the physical plane will change to match those dynamics. And that's why reality is shifting, because the frequency is changing. And as the frequency changes, your perception changes, your identity changes. You think you're a different kind of human being, and you are. DNA may change. The body may change. We may be able to, not really die the way we used to think we died, because where's the other world? There is no other world.
Yeah.
We're still here in a different frequency, right? So a lot of things will change the way we understand them.
And this is going to change fast now.
Very fast now, yeah.
You're talking about the golden age on your website.
Golden age?
Golden age. Is that what we've been talking about all the time now? Yeah.
Well, I think of it as the intuition age, and that in that time, everything supports everything else. That the golden rule, I think, becomes really the operating principle, because you understand that, like for instance, self-sacrifice is not a noble thing anymore, right? It used to be sort of a great concept. I'll give up my own for you, But no, because if you don't do your best and give it out to the world, then they can't have that to do their best, to give their, and it doesn't help anyone. So now we should be trying to be our best all the time. So there are a lot of old principles that aren't going to work in the new time period.
Well, that's maybe very good.
And I think the mutual support, where everything's interconnected, everything works for everything else because that supports you. And it just keeps doing that. So if you need help, you just ask for it, and it comes.
Yeah. But how about all the people sitting in the dark side, and do they get kick in the ass to get things going, or Bashar on internet, about him? He's talking about we're going to be in different dimensions. Some people are going to be in that dimension, the fifth dimension. Some people are going to still be in the third dimension.
Right. I've seen that also. At a certain point, I've seen that there's a bifurcation of the worlds, where a sort of critical mass of people will move into the higher frequency world, and another lot of people will stay in the lower frequency world, but they'll be parallel. They'll be right in the same space, but at different frequencies. So everybody's still there. It's not like we lose anybody, but it's just more of a who's ready and who's not ready yet. So it's actually a compassionate thing, where if you're ready to be at a higher level, if you're living in a low frequency reality, you can't function very well, and at some point they split. Do
you have any time schedule on this? It's are we in a hurry to get in these higher frequencies, or?
I have not seen it exactly, although I had seen years ago that it was somewhere around 2020 or 2025 or something, where something would happen. But I think it's happening already in a way. That some people are already just moving into a whole other reality, and if you look around, it's like we are occupying two realities already, especially if you look at politics.
Yeah.
It's like people, like in the U.S., the Republicans and Democrats, they don't even see each other.
No, yeah.
They have their own messages, their own truths, so they don't
that's a good example. Yes. But I was more thinking about the time schedule. I think about, is it any, can you be too late?
No.
Or is everybody's coming within the time?
I think it depends on your own desire as a soul. That you'll get it when you get it. You know, and some people get it really at the last minute, but all at once, and boom, you know, and other people are gradual. And then other people aren't going to get it yet, and they'll maybe die and come back and reincarnate into a planet that they remember. It's familiar to them, comfortable, and then they'll grow, you know. So I think it's not like all one big change that'll happen overnight. It's coming in waves, and it's very individualistic, you know.
Yeah, it sounds...
but I think also that we have a, I don't want to say urgency or responsibility in a way, but if you have the insight now, I think it's really important to be a thought leader and to go ahead and start talking about it to other people and see if you can get people to become conscious now, because there will be, I think, a certain period where things get much more intense, or I don't want to put fear into it. It's like critical, but because the time is compressing a bit, you want to take advantage of that, you know. And it's not like you'll lose anything, but you could ride the wave really well, you know, and make it easier for yourself.
Yeah, if you know about it, that's why we have this interview.
Right. Yeah, that's why we want to talk about it.
So many people that never think about this at all.
Yeah.
The church is never mentioning this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they have the rapture and other kinds of ideas, but I don't think they're really understanding yet the inner work that each person can do.
Yes.
Because they're using an external intermediary, and I think that slows things down.
Yes.
You know.
Want to tell a little bit about your latest books? You had, I saw you had Frequency, and you had
Leap of Perception.
Yes, and this other one.
Yeah.
This trilogy.
Yeah, the Intuitive Way is actually a course on intuition development in 10 chapters. So you can do and lots of exercises and things to do with the journal, so that if you process through the chapters, it's the actual process that intuition goes through when it opens. So you can do it by yourself, or people do it in groups. They have, you know, this 10-week class or something, and they do it. And then Frequency is really that idea that we are vibrational beings. So how do you work with your own personal vibration, which is, I think, a combination of your body, emotions, mind, spirit at any given moment, you know, and it can go up and down.
All the things together.
Yes, all the things together. If you look outside in the world, you may match other people's vibrations, and maybe they're lower than yours, and then you won't feel very good. But if you look inside and you go into that home frequency, that's very stable, and you can learn to focus on that and make that normal. That's your normal vibration, and that when you get off center, you just say, oops, I'm off center, just a minute, gonna go back to my home frequency. And then,
breathe a little bit.
Yeah, and get back in, you know, you have vibrational memory in the body. The body knows these states.
Yeah.
It always can, if you think about a pleasant time, your body will go right back into that state again. So centering back into that and making that normal also allows your emotions and mind to align with that vibration, and then the soul can flow through and bring your destiny, all the things that you want to do. And then it's effortless. But it's a habit. You have to build that habit.
Yes, I would think so. Yeah.
I don't think it's hard, but it takes repetition.
Yeah. So, but it's good, it would be a nice habit to have then.
Yeah, right. And so once you learn about that frequency adjustment and how your field actually does work for you, you know, and it's a lot of wonderful things. Then you can go to Leap of Perception, where you're saying, oh, here's the old perception, here's the new perception, spherical and holographic. And what is it, and how does it work, and how do you change over, and how do you get there? And then the last part of that book it has 9 chapters, and each one is about a new attention skill that we need to work on that'll be part of the intuition age. You know, like collective consciousness and direct knowing and a lot of different things. And, you know, I think we'll have expanded human capacities. They'll be normal. Telepathy, clairvoyance, all that, you know, healing, it's just be normal.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
just to go a little bit back, I looked at your website, and you have been researching these things for almost all your life.
Yeah.
So you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And you've been manager for, was a kind of art.
Well, I was a corporate art director
Yeah.
and graphic designer for a long time,
Yes.
and designer. So that, I think, taught me how to think as a problem solver, and it was artistic, so I kept my intuition open.
Mm.
And then as I found out more and more about metaphysics and doing readings, that was interesting to me because it was like solving a design problem. I would go and look at a person and say, well, this, these are the way, why you're working the way you're working. And so I did that for a long time. And then I started noticing these principles of energy and things while I was doing readings. And then I started kind of a practice of looking under the surface of reality. Okay, well, what's happening this year?
Yes.
How are things shifting now? What's going on? And then describing that. And I had a newsletter, and I would just put it out constantly. And now I sense this is going on. And then there are other people who say, me too. I felt the same thing. So.
I'll put your website on the screen here.
Okay.
And I saw you have lots of information there.
Yeah, I have
lots of
there are a lot of free
newsletters,
things, free PDFs and things to download.
Yes, and you can also book readings and order your books through your website.
And I do work a lot in Europe by phone.
Yes.
But I have a lot of every year I do a New Year's letter about what's going on for the year, and then I try to do one also in June, in the mid-year, to try to see, check in on the process.
Yes, I just signed up on your newsletter, so
good.
so you can also do that. That's for free.
Yeah, it's free.
Anything else? I think we went through most of the things you talked about on the convention here.
Yeah.
And you explain things so very easy. It sounds like it's true.
Well, guess what? It is.
Yes, you have experienced it. Yes.
Yeah, I think I can't talk about it until I experience it. That's the way my body and my mind work now.
Yes.
I have to feel an example of something before I can even describe it.
Yeah, that's easier to describe it.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah. So.
Do you want to give a message to the world for the upcoming times?
Oh, well, I'm very excited. I think that the process of just being yourself, right? And that sounds so easy, but being centered, getting in your home frequency, building that new habit of knowing that this is normal, and letting other people be the way they are. You become a kind of a field of positive energy that changes other people or influences people. You don't even have to try to do anything. So I think that we can each put that out into the world and actually help a lot of people without, really even working at it so hard.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad we could do this.
Yeah.